Good morning, everyone, and welcome to KXAN News Today as we start your Monday here in November. The Texas Senate is on high alert this morning as they continue to figure out what to do with the DEI.
It is discussing multiple items, and among them removing diversity, equity, and inclusion from programs. The agenda is saying that these programs are damaging and not aligned with workforce demands. Also this morning, in observance of Veterans Day, Williamson County offices are closed today. Normal working hours resume tomorrow, but there won't be a Commissioners Court meeting. Travis County and Hays County have offices also closed today.
And this morning at 9:30, the city of Austin is celebrating Veterans Day by throwing a parade. It's going to be free and open to the public, and that one starts at South Congress Avenue Bridge and ends at the Texas State Capitol building. And we are in for a sunnier day, previous ones at least for Veterans Day, making it ideal for all the events happening around Central Texas. Morning, everyone. I'm Sally Hernandez.
And I'm Tom Miller. Something we've struggled with in the past is our
Yes.
weather today. We have meteorologist Kristen Curry here. So not the case this year.
Real nice day today for whatever you plan to be doing. Let's get you outside this morning as we begin with our Whittlesey Landscape Supplies weather camera there on Round Rock. Clear skies, quiet conditions, calm winds, temperatures this morning starting cooler in the hill country in the 40s, but the rest of us a mix of 50s and 60s. So running a little bit warmer than normal here in Austin as we currently sit at 62, and we should be in the lower 50s this time of year, but not a major change from what we were showing you yesterday at this time. Maybe about 5 degrees cooler in Leonard kind of sticks out to me, but everything else looks pretty good. As far as your Veterans Day forecast, again, want to thank those who have served our country. I'll tell you, temperatures are going to be warm today as we climb to 85, coming within 2 degrees of the record, but sunshine will help get us there. No need to worry about the rain gear just yet. Coming up, near record warmth sticks around for most of the week. There is going to be a cold front arriving midweek. We'll talk about the impacts and whether we can expect any rain in the short term. More on that here in your first morning forecast.
Thank you. An Israeli strike killed dozens yesterday in Lebanon and isolated northern Gaza. At least 23 people, including 7 children. And it's an area where Hezbollah has a huge presence. There was no prior evacuation warning. And according to Israeli military, the strike hit Hezbollah, a site used to store weapons. This comes after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu spoke over 3 times with President-elect Donald Trump since Tuesday's election. Netanyahu says that they see eye to eye to regain the Iranian threat and all of its components.
Back to Veterans Day this morning, and the Texas General Land Office has met with veterans for decades now, and it documents their life experiences as they serve our country.
Jayla Washington found out how veterans' voices are being honored.
Today is June 19th, 2024, and today I'm going to be interviewing Miss Laura Kerner. This interview is being conducted via telephone.
When Lieutenant Laura Kerner was asked to share her story of service with the U.S. Navy, she was surprised.
I was like, okay, well, why not? Why wouldn't I share my story?
It starts when she was a tender 17 years old and decided to go to the United States Naval Academy, though she had never been to the ocean before. But she just knew she wanted to serve her country.
Thinking back, I don't even think I've told my whole story to my own daughters about what I did in the military.
As times changed, as did laws, Kerner was one of the first women allowed to serve in combat and was a female trailblazer on destroyers and an aircraft carrier.
Sitting there and laying it all out, I didn't realize all the things that I had been involved in and all the things I had done and why it was important to share. Sitting back and reflecting, you realize, wow, I was really there during an extremely pivotal time in the military.
It's these reflections and realizations that are at the heart of why the Texas General Land Commission began its Voices of Veterans oral history program.
Because so many of our veterans, when they came home, they didn't tell their stories.
The General Land Office connects with veterans in various ways, like through its nursing homes and mortgage programs.
Is we actually have a veteran who does the interview.
Any incidents ever happen while you were out at sea?
Over the course of about an hour, a veteran's upbringing, what led them to serve, funny moments.
I fell off my sailboat, and that was the first time I ever touched saltwater.
But also tragedy.
As we think there's just so much value in the rich lives that they led. Family is sometimes shocked by what they hear.
Kerner's story now, amongst more than 500 shared and forever archived.
I always felt like I was doing something of purpose.
Jayla Washington, KXAN News.
And you can find a full archive of the stories on the Voices of Veterans webpage. They're listed in alphabetical order. Veterans can also reach out to share their own stories. There is a new place for kids to hit the court in Pflugerville as the city there opened up its multi-sport court on Saturday.
This court is a joint effort between the city and 4ATX Foundation. It's an organization connected to Austin FC, providing support for things like soccer fields. And this court that you're seeing here obviously can be a soccer field, but also you can do basketball out there. You can do inline hockey. The assistant director for Pflugerville's Parks and Recreation Department says projects like this one are mainly about helping people who live nearby.
We want to make sure that everyone has a park that they're proud of, close to their home. So while we're doing something really unique here, we're doing things that are unique all over our city so that people feel like those places are special.
Overall, the park's price tag was about $343,000. The funding coming from park development fees from a nearby development.
Welcome back, everyone. A beautiful day. If you're looking to go for a walk, if you want to go for a walk around a trail, you're in luck. Phase 1 of the Violent Crown Trail project is officially complete.
This now connects 13 miles of trail between Zilker Park and the Lady Bird Johnson Wildflower Center. It's a joint project between Austin Parks and Rec and the Hill Country Conservancy. That is a nonprofit group that focuses on protections for nature around the Hill Country. The Conservancy says the project is 18 years in the making. The CEO says it's additions like this that really keep Austin growing.
One of the reasons that Austin is growing so quickly is because we have consciously protected our green space. We've kept our iconic springs flowing. We've created a culture where people thrive in the outdoors and they connect to nature in many, many ways.
There's still more work to do on the trail, and when completed, it's supposed to be 30 miles long, one of the longest of its kind in the state. Good morning. It's a live look outside here, dark and early. The stars still over Central Texas with this live look from the Lady Bird Johnson Wildflower Center. Happy to have you with us. Some exciting news around town. Michelin stars, big deal in the restaurant industry, and now the Guide is coming to Texas.
That's a really big deal. The internationally renowned Michelin Guide comes to the Lone Star State today. It's kicking off with a ceremony in Houston, and during the event, the selection of the Michelin Guide Texas will be revealed. All right, Houston or Austin, who do you think is going to take the crown when it comes to most restaurants that are going to be in this guide? That's a tough one, I have to say. Not that I agree it should be Houston. I'm just saying that maybe others might think that Houston is a bigger city with maybe more.
Yeah, I mean, that's like the obvious part is that it's a city, what, like 3 or 4 times the size of Austin.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest in the country.
Yes.
Well, listen, we might be smaller but mighty.
That's
right?
true. Yeah. I mean, we'll wait and see, but we have a lot of good food here.
We sure do. Yeah, and beauty's in the eye of the beholder too, right? Like some of those that don't meet that criteria, I'm like, listen, you ain't ever gonna put a plate of that kind of food in front of me, and I'm gonna say no, you know. So let me show you what's going on outside today, because if you've got food on the brain, I'm thinking patio lunch today, friends. It's gonna feel really nice outside. Now it won't feel like fall, unfortunately. It is gonna be a very warm day, but we've got nice weather to look forward to. Right now, radar is completely quiet across the entire region. We mentioned the fact that on our Lady Bird Johnson Wildflower Center camera, you can actually see the stars. It's so clear out there. We're going to be looking at clear skies for most of the day. Current temperature, though, 62 in downtown Austin. West-northwest winds at 3 miles per hour and humidity at 80%. As far as your Veterans Day forecast goes, we are expecting temperatures to be close to the daily record. I don't think we'll quite get there, but there is that chance, considering 85 is where I expect our Austin forecast high to be, and 87 is the daily record. Sunshine will help get us there. The winds today are coming out of the northwest initially, and then more out of the northeast this afternoon. Your forecast highs across Central Texas looking to be in those low to mid 80s across the area. With the dry skies, northerly winds, and that warmth, we'll be watching wildfire danger closely. Most of this is in the low to moderate category. Lower fire danger in the Hill Country, where we did see significant rain late last week, and then moderate east of I-35 for the most part. Here's what I expect our skies to look like through the day. We're watching a little bit of some fog try and get into the eastern counties this morning, but haven't seen that successful yet. Sunshine this afternoon, overnight. We're going to see mainly clear skies again. As far as tomorrow afternoon goes, mix of sun and clouds with way more sunshine and only a few of those puffy clouds clipping the hill country. So nice dry skies for whatever you're going to be doing today and tomorrow. But the humidity does bump up just a little bit Wednesday. That's going to be coming up ahead of a cold front expected late Wednesday night into Thursday. That's why you see the drop there behind it. Unfortunately, though, I think we're going to miss out on most of the action with this next storm system. It's got a good track into the Four Corners, but just lifts too far towards the north too quickly. So we're just going to be left with a dry cold front and some cooler nighttime temperatures getting into Thursday morning and Friday morning. But unfortunately, we do not look to see any rain with this next storm system. Potentially getting into late weekend, could we see a better chance of rain? Right now, I'm going conservative at 10%, but we've got pretty good model support that as we look beyond the 7-day forecast, we could get back into that rainier pattern. That being said, there's a lot of sunshine in this 7-day. Sunny today with a high of 85, sunny tomorrow with a high of 84. We'll go with those mid-80s for one more day on Wednesday. Cold front comes through, drops our temperatures both in the overnight and in the afternoon, brings us at least closer to that 73 average for this time of year, but still going 76 on Thursday. We'll get the 80s back for this weekend. Your overnight lows staying far above freezing as we stay in those 50s and 60s for the next 6 to 7 mornings. Tom?
Thank you, Kristen. In the excitement leading up to the box office musical Wicked, it appears that there's been a misprint on Mattel's new line of Wicked dolls. It leads customers to an adult website instead of the upcoming movie. Several social media users noticed the mistake, which quickly went viral here. Mattel says it deeply regrets the misprint on the singing dolls and advises parents that the website on the box is not appropriate for children. Says people who bought the dolls should throw out the packaging or obscure the link on it. Mattel sold the dolls primarily at Target stores. If you're having a hard time getting into the doctor, you are not alone here.
So many people have a hard time, and here in Central Texas, they say it's taking weeks to months to get an appointment with a primary care doctor, much longer to see some specialists. KXAN investigator Arzo Dost explains lawmakers are looking for solutions now to help with growing frustrations.
Sounds good.
John Van Dyke won't miss his appointment. Up until August, he didn't have a doctor.
My blood pressure was out of control.
He says he eventually had to go to the ER.
I lost my insurance and my job during the pandemic, and I just had a hard time, establishing myself afterwards.
Van Dyke says part of the problem, he couldn't get an appointment to see a primary care doctor.
Every time I clicked on a date in the future, it was just not happening.
Craven Rory got an initial appointment to see her OBGYN during the pandemic for an annual exam, but couldn't get in after for a follow-up.
She was booked 2 to 3 years out.
A recent nationwide study by Tebra, an all-in-one platform for independent healthcare providers, found 33% of U.S. patients have been unable to see a doctor in the past year because of availability, and 19% had to wait 1 to 3 months for a primary care appointment.
You wait for appointment 3, 4 or more months for visit the doctor.
I know it's incredibly frustrating.
Dr. Clay Johnston says he's trying to transform the health system so doctors and the team working with them really get to know the people in their care. He's the co-founder and chief medical officer of Harbor Health, a startup primary and specialty care clinic group with locations across Central Texas.
The docs are forced to see many patients in a day and don't have the time and energy to spend with individuals to really focus on how to get them healthier. We give our clinicians much more flexibility.
Dr. Johnston says every person who's seen at one of the clinics has a health team customized to their needs and could include a doctor, nurse, pharmacist, specialist, and health coach who can address mental, emotional, and nutritional concerns. He says ultimately the team approach means quicker access to doctors.
We support them more in terms of the time they can spend with folks. we support them more in some of the other activities that pull them away from the important parts of, addressing people's needs, being with them in the room, not on computers or with insurance companies.
State lawmakers are also looking for solutions. In September, during a Senate Committee on Health and Human Services hearing, healthcare providers talked about physician shortages across the state and the impact.
Access to health care is something we have to continually work on in this very large and growing state.
We shared concerns from Central Texans with Senator Lois Kolkhorst, who is chair of the committee. She says patients waiting weeks or months to see a primary care physician is unacceptable, and the issue must be addressed. She adds the committee has data from a wide variety of sources, and the next step is to see what solutions look like in the next legislative session, which starts in January. Van Dyke says access to care needs to be a priority. He believes not being able to get a doctor's appointment delayed his care.
I wasn't on my medications. It could have been a lot worse.
He now has a team at Harbor Health checking on him weekly and making sure he's on track.
Thanks, y'all.
Have a good day.
You too.
Arzo Dos, KXAN Investigates.
All right, so thank you. It turns out that a common ingredient in some cold and allergy drugs that's supposed to ease some of the nasal congestion is not effective. I know a lot of people are taking that this morning with the allergy season we have. Well, this is all according to the FDA, which is proposing to end the use of the ingredient called phenelphrin. Now, the FDA says that only small amounts of that ingredient, just small, actually reaches your nose to soothe the congestion. It can be found in versions of drugs like NyQuil, there's Benadryl, Sudafed, Mucinex. The FDA's proposal is not final just yet, meaning companies can still market the over-the-counter drugs with the ingredient. But a final decision would force pharmacies to clear their shelves of the hundreds of products on it.
This is KXAN Sports, brought to you by Thomas J. Henry.
Good morning. The Dallas Cowboys faced their hated rivals, the Eagles, and it was an absolute disaster at AT&T Stadium. Cooper Rush got the starting quarterback, first start since 2022. He was 5-1 as a starter heading into Sunday. Well, that changed. Sunday wasn't the best for him. He fumbles it right there. Eagles recover. First turnover of the day for Dallas, and Jalen Hurts sneaks it in for the touchdown, 7-0 Eagles. 7-3 now in the second quarter, Philly up. Hurts throws, it's intercepted by Trevon Diggs. So the Cowboys force a big-time turnover. They try to make the Eagles pay. First and goal, Ezekiel Elliott coughs up the ball near the goal line, and it is recovered in the end zone for a touchback. So the Cowboys get nothing out of that. Dak Prescott saw his offense sputtering big time without him. Hurts finding Dallas Goedert for the touchdown. Philly takes the 14-6 lead. It would get much worse from there. Texas X DeMarvion Overshown led the team in tackles and had 2 sacks, but suffered an injury in the third quarter. He did say after the game that he's going to be all right. Late third, 28-6 Philly. Trey Lance checked in, and he couldn't really do anything either. He gets stopped right here. Cowboys lose 34-6 to the Eagles, drop to 3-6 on the season. Only 3 yards in the third quarter for Dallas. The first year in the SEC, in Texas heads to the SEC championship game. The Longhorns face South Carolina. Second half scoreless. It's the corner kick results in a header for the goal by Carly Montgomery. 1-0. Second goal of the season for Montgomery. Beautifully done right there. Late in the second half, great chance for South Carolina coming up right here, but nope. And Mia Justice and the Longhorns dodge one. Texas holds on to win 1-0 over South Carolina, clinching the SEC championship in its first season in the conference. And the UT women's basketball team made their debut on Sunday, beating Southeast Missouri State 119-47. That's it for sports. Let's go back over to you.
All right, coming up, the issue within the Austin airport that may lead to even more delays for flyers. We hope you join us for that story on air and always on KXAN.com.